My guest today on Raising Private Money, Jarrod and Tomeka Day, they just recently started raising private money and they've already raised over $200,000. Well, first, quickly, a little bit of background on both of them. Now, Jarrod, he went to Duke University School of Medicine, where he received the training and to eventually become a board certified vascular surgeon. Well, in addition to that, he's always had a love for real estate. He actually began his investment career along with his wife in 2019 with their first set of rental properties. Now, although still practicing medicine full time, Jarrod saw how the creation of wealth through real estate afforded more time to spend not only with his wife and young children, but also more time on his passion for real estate. So as a result, he has semi-retired from surgery to join his wife in their real estate business. Now, Tomeka is the author of 21 Days to a Prosperous Mindset. She's also a certified integrative nutrition health coach and a pediatrician. She earned her Doctor of Medicine degree from the Brody School of Medicine at East Carolina University. So together, this dynamic duo, Dr. Jarrod and Dr. Tomeka, I love calling them that, they've worked to grow their real estate business and they've seen fantastic returns as a result. So they've now dedicated their lives to helping other people enjoy great investment returns through this means of real estate to create their own generational wealth. Now, you're going to be meeting Jarrod and Tomeka right after this.
If you're a real estate investor and are wondering how to raise and leverage private money to make more profit on every deal, then you're in the right place. On Raising Private Money, we'll speak with new and seasoned investors to dissect their deals and extract the best tips and strategies to help you get the money, because the money comes first. Now here's your host, Jay Connor.
Well, hello, Tomeka. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Hi, Jay.
Hello, and welcome, Jarrod.
Hey, how's it going?
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, let's dive right in because our audience really wants to know how it is that you got into private money and all that. So what did your real estate investing business look like before you started using private money to fund your deals?
Yeah, so it looked like our first real estate investment deal really looked like us going to the bank and getting a conventional loan, which at the time when we started back in 2020, the interest rates were okay. And because it was our first investment property, I would say it went fairly smoothly. So that's pretty much how we funded our first deal.
Yep,
I got you.
Yep.
Go ahead, Jarrod.
Yeah, that was the first time, but as we bought more and more, it got very hard to get approved. And that was pretty frustrating. So we knew, at the speed of growth that we wanted for our real estate business, we wanted to look at other options.
So when we talk about raising private money, first of all, let everybody know, let's be clear, when you're raising private money, what do you mean by private money? Where are you getting the money from? Is this any kind of institutional money?
Yeah, I think, honestly, Jarrod was the one that put us on to a great program you offer. And we went to one of your live events to really learn more about the options that existed in the private world of lending. And so, we signed up for the program, Platinum Plus group, and learn how we could go about to raise private money. So, individuals that have access to money through different means, who want to get great returns on their investment, that's where that private money comes from.
So as you say, what we're talking about borrowing money from individuals, from human beings, just like you, just like me, so we're not, borrowing money from, as we call it, institutional money. So let me ask you, and either one of you can answer, or perhaps both of you, how did it actually feel when you were able to break through and finally realize that private money was the thing that you needed for your business? I mean, how'd that make you feel, and how'd that change your outlook on the business?
Well, first it was super gratifying. Well, first to learn, what we needed to do through the Platinum Plus program to find private lenders and to get capital for it. But then the very first time it happened, it was like, oh my gosh, this actually worked. The Platinum Plus program works, and especially for the most recent purchase, that was almost it was a miracle. But it happened because we took the Platinum Plus program. We did what you guys teach us, and we asked the questions. We put ourselves out there, and miraculously, to me, it felt miraculously to us that it worked.
Well, I want to hear. Go ahead, Tomeka.
I was going to say, yeah, that's the thing. Is like before. That's one thing I can definitely say about being in the program. We didn't even think like that. To even ask, to even know that was an option, right? It was just the things that we had already known, like go to the bank and get a loan and things like that. And as Jarrod said, it becomes more difficult when you start getting more investment properties to go through that channel to get funding. So just
the bank channel,
right, the bank channel. But so the program really just opened our eyes and like, oh wow, and like Jarrod says, like to even ask the questions and to even present this option or this program to a private lender. That was the amazing part, and to be able to close that deal using the private money was just wonderful.
Right. I'm sorry, it's just so much we want to talk about.
No, go for it.
It's the fear. I think it's the fear in not knowing how to ask, because you almost feel like you go into, like, sometimes you think you go into people you work with. You're like, hey, can you give me money? I'm investing in real estate. This is a totally different mindset and a different standpoint that you take, because you're not really asking for money. You're telling people about an opportunity, and that was like probably one of the biggest mindset shifts that we had.
Well, I want everyone to hear the story about your very first private lender from start to finish. I mean, not who are they, not by name, but I mean, where are these people? Where do you find them? Describe the approach and just walk us through the story from start to finish of that deal being funded.
Yeah, so our first private lender actually was our close relative, and we shared what we were doing in the program and said, oh, this is a great opportunity. Very natural, with no pressure, just, hey, this is what we're doing. And, there are different ways in which you can also make money, from your investing with us or lending to us. And that one went well, and that one was $20,000. So that was great. That was one that we could use for the rehab. But our next one was the big one that allowed us to make the actual purchase of the property. And that came about. We had found a great deal. Jarrod had found a great deal. And one of the main things from the seller was that he needed to close within 6 weeks. And so we were like, okay. And, that can be a little tricky if you're trying to use conventional bank financing to be able to close a deal in such a short period of time. And we had reached out to someone Jarrod had met through networking with North Carolina RIA, and shared about the property, a great opportunity. And he was like, oh my goodness, I want to jump on board. Like, I can I can lend you the funds to close this deal, using your program. So that was amazing, because once we closed, we had about $100,000 worth of equity in the property, because the deal was structured that the time was the main thing for this seller. So being able to close in such a short period of time was the motivating factor. And so because of that, he, dropped the price by a great deal. That was probably like one of the greatest experiences that we had since doing this.
Yeah.
That is wonderful. I can relate to what you're saying. By being able to close quickly and use private money to fund the deal, we get more offers accepted, right? I mean, I've just went under contract yesterday on a house over in Havelock, and that deal, the original asking price was $270,000. Well, the after repaired value is 280. They're asking retail, and so we told them they would need to come down significantly. Well, here's why this story comes to mind based on what you just said. We offered to pay all cash, close in 7 days, and they didn't want to really sell until August. We said, look, we'll give you all your cash. We'll close in 7 days, and you can live in the house for free until August. And guess what? We're buying it for not $270,000. We're buying it for $141,500. And a big part of that was we're able to close quickly, give them their cash, and let them live there for free for this, period of time. So I experienced the same thing that you all just shared. And as we get more offers accepted using private money and paying all cash, because we can close quickly. Well, I know the list is very long, so I'll just let you all share what comes to mind. What do you like about private money? What are the benefits of using private money instead of, say, going to the local bank?
Oh, yeah. Want to go ahead?
Yeah. One thing, because I usually handle this part, is there is not an extensive list of documentation, paperwork, like everything from A to Z that you have to present to the local bank. Oh, my goodness. That in and of itself. I think we probably had 4 or 5, pieces of paper to sign at closing. And that is just so like much relief when you're not having to pull all these documents together. And I know we do it, but honestly, that is a lot of work. It can be labor intensive. And so with the private lending program, you're not doing all of this.
Yeah, it's pretty streamlined.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Giant packets.
Yes. Well, speaking of the documentation, let's talk about that for a moment. So when it comes to closing and going to your real estate attorney's office for the closing, well, here's all there is. There's the HUD settlement statement. And of course, the real estate attorney prepares these documents. There's the HUD real estate settlement statement. There is the promissory note, which just lays out who's the borrower, who's the lender, what's the principal loan amount, the frequency of payments, the interest rate. So the promissory note, that's a page and a half. Then there's the deed of trust here in North Carolina. Most people call it a mortgage. That's what collateralizes the note. And then that's pretty much it. I mean, you're done.
Yes. Exactly.
I mean, when I go close a deal at my real estate attorney's office, other than our chit chat, the actual signing takes like less than 60 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the ease of closing, not much documentation. What's another benefit? Why private money?
We can offer closings for sellers much faster, and because of that, they sell it to us for a much lower price, and that is huge. For our margins, for anybody's margins, especially, with the market doing what it's doing, with, I don't know what we're calling what we are in right now. Like, it probably is a recession, but I guess we haven't said it. But, so if you're able to close on properties with better margins, you're more protected, even if the repair value drop by 10 or 20%. You're buying at such a low price that you still could keep going forward with, this exit strategy of flips. But anyway, so with, getting private lenders, you can buy quickly, you could buy at a much lower price and buy faster, faster closings, and makes your attorney happy too.
Yes.
And lower closing fees.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Yes.
So does your credit score have anything to do with how much private money you can get?
That was amazing because none of that factored in at all. Like that was the part of the reality check. Like, oh my goodness, is this like really happening? None of that. Like, there was no credit score factored in, no credit check. I mean, it just it's a game changer. Yeah.
Another great thing is, we I don't know the last time we bought through a bank. It's been maybe I don't know, 18 months.
Yeah.
But we had to submit this big profit and loss statement, all these financial statements, and then we had to keep getting back into the bank over and over, and it was a long, drawn out process. It felt like a colonoscopy. It was like ridiculous. And we don't have to go through that when you're using a private lender.
Yes.
It's beautiful.
Oh, mercy. Well, now, so what you're saying is when you're borrowing private money, there's no application process.
That's right.
That's right.
Yes.
Well, when there's a big difference between, the old traditional way of borrowing money is you go to the bank, you talk to Mrs. Banker or Mr. Banker, and you get on your hands and knees and you put your hands underneath your chin and you say, please fund my deal. Please fund my deal. Right. But in this world of private money, it's a 180-degree turn. We're not asking for a mortgage. We're offering a mortgage. Right. Exactly. And would you say having the attitude of being a teacher plays a big part into this as far as teaching people how private money works?
Yeah, definitely. Like just that, because having the attitude of a teacher is so important because, you are helping to facilitate a mindset shift, which allows you to be able to get a lot of these deals and things done. Because a lot of times, like I said, with our first private lender, they had never thought about it. But when we presented like what we were doing in the package and showed how it not only benefits us, but it benefits them as well, then they began to look and say, we actually do have access to, some capital to lend.
Right.
And so that process was teaching, them how they can allow their own money to grow without them working for it, right? Because their money is doing the work. And then also, we are able to use that for rehab or whatever. And it's just a win-win on both sides.
Yeah.
Now, I got to ask you this question. When you bought that house that you were talking about using private money, how much of your own money did you have to bring to the closing table?
Oh, the best part, absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
As in zero?
Zero. Never were we ever able to do that before.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
let me ask you this. So you took no money of your own to the closing table. Did you bring any money home from the closing table?
Yes, we did. So,
now, wait a minute. Let me get this straight. You didn't, there was no application process.
Oh.
The private money is wired to your real estate attorney. You go to the closing, you take none of your own money to the closing table, and you bring home a check from when you buy the property. How in the world do you do that?
Well,
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I said, it felt like a miracle.
Yes.
So we were able to borrow slightly more than what the purchase price was because we were going to use that money for rehab. And the great thing about this deal is that it did not require much rehab.
Yeah.
Because he was motivated, the seller was motivated, and we were able to close quickly. He was able to lower the price, and we were able to, bring home a paycheck because, like I said, we borrowed just, more than the purchase price. So that money that we brought home, we used for the rehab, and now we have the house on the market about to sell.
Yeah.
Well, what are the numbers? What are the numbers of this deal? Like, what are you putting it on the market for? How much did you buy it for? How much was the rehab, and what's your anticipated profit?
So the we purchased it for 200,000, but
Hmm.
the seller had it appraised twice, and the appraisal value was between what 290
296.
and 305.
Yeah, 296 and 305.
Right. So there was like huge margins.
Hmm.
And again, the property, excellent property, really not much. I mean, it was well maintained. I mean, the
Yeah.
biggest thing for the rehab was to update it. But, in the particular market that we're in, we didn't have to go down that
Yeah.
road of making everything like brand new. Everything worked, good, solid, floors, structure, brick, great layout and land. So we just, any little thing, we did marginal
Yeah.
rehab,
Hmm.
which cost us $1,500.
Yeah. So we bought it for 195.
Well, 200.
Well, yeah. But then we came home with a check for about 5 grand, and we fixed it up with 1,500.
Right. And
Wow.
so, but the interesting thing is when we first started with it on the market, this was during the shift of
Yeah.
the real estate. Like, so what, about 7, 8 months ago, properties were going well above like what they were valued at because of the whole, like scarcity and things like that.
Hmm.
Now that has shifted. So we started higher. We started at the appraisal value, um, with it being on the market. But again, we have room to come down.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's the greatest thing about it. And so we have a contract looking to close soon. So yep.
Yep. Exactly.
Wow, that is fantastic. Jarrod and Tomeka, let's give our listeners and our audience a free gift. I'm so excited. I recently finished writing my private money guide. It's called 7 Reasons Why Private Money Will Skyrocket Your Real Estate Business and Help You Build Incredible Wealth. This money guide will get you on the fast track to getting your own private money. And you can download it at jayconner.com, JayConner.com /money guide. Again, that website is www.jayconner.com/money guide. Go there to download your money guide and get on the fast track to getting private money. So, Tomeka, Jarrod, have you all learned any lessons as to what you might do different going forward as you raise more private money? Anything that you've learned along the way that you would do a little bit different now than when you started, or not really?
There you go.
I think I don't think that with in the sense of raising private money, we've had a lot of pitfalls because we again we are in platinum plus, so we've had that guidance, right? So we're not out here like listening over here and then trying to do it. We definitely have we're able to bounce deals off of Crystal, during our sessions and and UJ. So from that perspective, I don't feel like we've encountered like, huge trial and error because we have that
Yeah.
support from being in the program.
Well, I'm so glad you didn't go try to fly an airplane before taking lessons.
Right.
That's right. Exactly.
That is awesome. Well, I tell you, you all are doing just fantastic. We've been talking about attracting private money because there's no chasing, there's no begging, there's no selling. How do you start a conversation? Let's say you're in a social setting, you're out to dinner, or you're at a networking event or whatever. Or you're talking to somebody in your warm market, as we call it. It's a relative, it's a friend, it's a coworker, whoever. How do you bring it up? How do you start a conversation about private money and what in the world it is?
So what I typically do, and what you and Crystal have taught us, is everybody asks, "Oh, what do you do?"
Mhm.
So I start off by introducing myself, my name, and ask them what they do, and then normally most people ask, "Well, what do you do?" Well, instead of saying the normal, well, I mean it's not boring, but I guess if you hear it enough, it's boring to some people. You just say, somebody asks you, "What do you do?" Normally I would say, "Oh, I'm an investor." But now I say, well, I teach. So I used to say private lenders, but now I say I teach people like me, people like you, how to make high returns of their money better than just about they can get anywhere else. And then they look at you like, oh, okay, well, tell me about that. And then
Exactly. Yeah, I say that all the time. And there's another way in addition to that I like playing around with on starting a conversation. I love did you know questions.
Yeah, I like
Did
that.
you know questions, right?
That's right.
And so sometimes I'll say, did you know there's a way people can earn unlimited money per year tax free? And of course they're gonna not know the answer to that question. They're gonna say, well, tell me about that. Of course, what I'm talking about is how people can transfer their retirement funds into a self-directed IRA, which we teach people how to do. And then if that retirement fund happens to be a Roth IRA, they can lend that out, and all the returns that they get on that are tax-free.
Yeah.
So when I say to somebody, did you know there's a way people can earn tax-free money, unlimited tax-free money every year? Of course, they're going to say no. Well, then my next question is, have you ever heard of self-directed IRAs? And of course, they're going to say no. So that leads to just a great opening and conversation of what self-directed IRAs are, and how that works into this world of private money. So I always am interested to hearing how other people start conversations about private money, because after all, this world of private money is a relationship business, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. People give money to people they know, like, and trust.
Yes,
So,
that's
yeah.
true.
Absolutely. And you know what? Jarrod and Tomeka, when would you say is the most dangerous or the worst time to be raising private money?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So the worst
Like
time.
when you need it for a deal.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like when you have a deal and now you need the funding. It's like,
Yeah.
oh
Yeah.
man.
Mercy.
But
Well,
thank-
Tomeka and Jarrod, this has been amazing having you on. What would be any advice, last words, parting comments, any advice that you would give to someone that either wants to raise more private money or they've never raised private money? What advice would you give them?
Yeah. So I think the advice I would give them is to just start talking, start asking questions. And because a lot of times we wait for everything to be perfect, and usually that never happens. So to just start by talking and listening to others and how they're doing it, and just start where you are, because our first private lender was a relative, which we wouldn't even have thought they would have became became a part of our program, because we were like, oh, they probably don't have X, Y, and Z. You don't know until you ask. And when you have the conversation and you put, like Jarrod said earlier, you present the opportunity.
Right.
And so that's probably one of the biggest takeaways. You really don't know what people have access to.
Yep. You just gotta be brave, put yourself out there, and ask the questions. You're really just building a community of people that you all know each other, and this community can help you and you help them. That's the whole point. It's not just a transactional exchange. It's a long-term relationship. And so you're building your own tribe. So in order to do that, you got to put yourself out there and just talk to people. You
got it. Tomeka Jarrod, thank you so much for joining me here on Raising Private Money. I really appreciate you, and congratulations on your success.
Thank you. Appreciate it so much. Thank you for having us.
You got it. Well, there you have it, my friend. Another episode of Raising Private Money. I'm Jay Connor, the Private Money Authority, and I really appreciate the shares. Think of someone that that would really enjoy and get value from this episode, and share it with them. If you happen to be watching on YouTube, be sure and ring that bell so you don't miss out on any upcoming episodes as well. And if you're on iTunes, be sure and follow me, and Spotify as well. I'm wishing you all the best. Here's to taking your business to the next level. And I'll see you right here on the next episode of Raising Private Money.
Are you feeling inspired by the knowledge you gained in this episode? Then head over to jconner.com/moneyguide. That's jconner.com/moneyguide and download your free guide that shares 7 reasons why private money will skyrocket your real estate investing business right now. Again, that's jconner.com/moneyguide to get your free guide. We'll see you next time on Raising Private Money with Jay Conner.